Hey, welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott. There is Dave next to me, and thanks for joining us as we continue on our Halloween month of horror and then some. We had some Universal classics, and then we decided to take a trip into John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. This could have used a rewrite or two. And
Yeah.
who's Susan? Did you notice how many people asked who's Susan? The girl with the glass. It's like it was a running gag throughout the whole thing. Who's Susan? Who's Susan?
Susan.
I gotta say this. I'm a huge John Carpenter fan. So the good of this movie, the main cast. There's some questionable casting down in the tertiary department. But casting and his ability to blend his sound is so unique. I'm just a fan of his music and his beats in the background and the sense of dread that his bass lines connect with and everything. So I thought that was really good, but I got all throughout 3/4 of this movie through this movie, and I started thinking this could have been a sequel to Big Trouble in Little China. Because we had talked about that.
Yeah. When you texted me, I started looking at it and I just started laughing. I was like, fuck, he's right. This was so close to being a sequel.
So close.
And it would have been great as if he would have had what's his name show up, Jack Burton show up at the last minute. You know what old Jack says? Who the fuck's Jack?
It would have been great. It would have been great because this is the same formula. Yeah. You've got Victor Wong again. This time playing a philosopher/scientist. Yeah. And when he's given his opening speech at the beginning of the movie, talking to his class, I was instantly brought back to him giving the tour through Little China or Chinatown on the bus at the beginning of Big Trouble in Little China. And it's like, this guy is perfect for that. We had talked about, wouldn't it be great if they continued the adventures with Egg Shen and Wang? And guess what? We get Egg Shen and Wang here. If they would just we didn't need Jack Burton. We had Family Dollar Tom Atkins and
Family Dollar.
I don't know who the actor is, and shame on me. He's probably a fine guy.
The guy with the mustache?
Yeah.
Simon. I was looking at him, and I was like the whole time. I'm like, who the fuck is that guy?
I'll be damn.
Hey, comes walking through the door. She goes, "Oh, you're watching this movie?" I said, "Yeah, I didn't think you'd be interested." She goes, "Oh, so and so from Simon and Simon." I was like, she even named the actor. I'm like, how do you know this guy?
That's amazing. Because I've seen him before, but that makes sense. That makes sense. But what I noticed with that is John Carpenter obviously has a type in his casting.
Yeah.
The redhead who was in the lead could have easily been like Kim Cattrall. I started to see I started to see a lot of similarities in characters, and I was like, God damn it, this is the sequel to Big Trouble in Little China. It could have been. We could have kept with the ancient evil god and the son of Satan, basically. And dude, this movie's a fucking mess. Is all I'm gonna say.
I was trying to like it. I liked it a lot more.
There's things I like.
I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to like it. It wasn't as gory as I thought it was going to be.
No, it's not.
John Carpenter has done better.
Oh, we've watched better.
We've watched, every movie I've seen of his so far I've liked, on some level. Especially Escape from New York. That's like the penultimate for me.
And for me is Big Trouble.
Big Trouble in Little China. I mean, those two are right there for me. It needed a rewrite. I honestly think he needed to make it a sequel.
Well, what happened, what I was reading is apparently Big Trouble in Little China was a flop at the box office.
It didn't make any money at the box office.
And he went on and did this the next year. He did this, and then he did They Live.
They Live. There's another one.
They Live hit. He just had a miss in here, and I think it's because it was so rushed. These are like a year apart. He just knocked this movie out to have a movie, and it suffers for it. It really suffers for it because the story's okay, and it could actually be really cool.
It should have been clearer. The problem is, I say that it should have been clearer what was going on. He spends half the movie explaining what's going on.
He does.
It's so convoluted.
Oh my God.
I was having a hard time following it, and I'm just like, how What is going on? How does this girl know how to translate this stuff? And what is she reading? And she's acting like she doesn't know what she's writing until she reads it on the screen. You know what I mean? And
yeah, she's plugging in some language that's converting. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just very odd, very odd.
I appreciate the storytelling, at least in that aspect of we're reading the computer screen and seeing what's coming out. And it's like, okay, this is actually kind of cool. Where it gave me a sense of discovering what they were discovering at the same time.
Yeah.
But this got campy really fast and cheesy.
You know what? I disagree.
Okay.
I don't think that it got campy enough or cheesy enough. I think had he pushed that, would you get your nose off of there?
If he'd have pushed it, it'd have been closer to Big Trouble.
Big Trouble. And I thought that's where he was going to go when I kept having the joke about Susan.
I know, right?
That's pretty funny. The first time I was like, oh, okay, nobody knows. And then the second or third time, I'm like, oh,
it's going again.
What's going on now? Where is this going to go? And it never went anywhere. No, and I'm like, okay, you had a moment there. He had a great moment for the dream sequence or whatever the hell that thing was supposed to be. I was waiting for that to be a big payoff.
And it really is.
The ending really wasn't even a big payoff with that. I was like, okay, you showed him kind of maybe. Is he really going to put? I don't want to ruin it completely, but there's a payoff at the end for the dream sequence and for the mirrors and stuff. And it's like, it's not really a payoff.
No, it leaves it open for your own interpretation. I
didn't
really
have one. He didn't give me enough information for me to have.
Well, this is where it gets confusing. Let's talk talk about something here, and I'm going to pull it up. I have what the dream sequence says in its entirety. So I found this interesting that when they originally first started talking about everything that was going on, they mentioned Jesus being an extraterrestrial. And it was just one line, and it's like,
I missed that. I totally
aliens?
Missed that line.
Are we going to aliens? Yes, we are.
Aliens.
Yes, we are. And this deals with apparently some evil god before God. And you can find old text about these gods. I forget which they called this one. But there is history of this. So we're basing it in some ancient theology or mythology or what have you. So it was kind of neat, but it's kind of like a slasher. We're in a single location. Nobody's getting out. He really played up a lot on the Exorcist by kept showing the staircase, the famous type of staircase to give that feeling.
But even that didn't have a payoff.
No, nothing really did. I mean, we see Alice Cooper as a homeless bum.
Nothing. I was waiting for Alice Cooper to be like either Jesus or an apostle or somebody to come back and save, but he didn't even have a line.
All right. So one of the things that happened is we find out at the beginning, this priest dies and he was part of the Brotherhood of Sleep. Okay, this is interesting. You got me. I'm intrigued. I want to know about this brotherhood.
What is this? Yeah.
What is this? Yeah. Where are we going? And apparently they were the keepers of this ancient entity and keeping it sealed somehow. But all of them had this dream. And I'm going to read to you this dream. And it showed an image of the front of the church with a shrouded figure. It was kind of ominous and it was very static and very hard to hear.
Right.
This is not a dream. Not a dream. We're using your brain's electrical system as a receiver. We are unable to transmit through conscious neural interference. You are receiving the broadcast as a dream. We are transmitting from the year 1999. You are receiving this broadcast in order to alter the events you're seeing. Our technology has not developed a transmitter strong enough to reach your conscious state of awareness, but this is not a dream. You are seeing what is actually occurring for the purpose of causality violation. Very interesting.
It's also time travel.
We also went time travel, which tachyons. Oh, well, yeah.
I understood about half of whatever they were saying. And I just thought it was like mumbo jumbo just to kind of
but time travel.
Intrigue. But that's time travel too.
Yep.
he needed to make it a more coherent script, definitely.
There were
And
two
like I
things
said,
going on. Yeah.
I don't hate this movie. I like because he's John Carpenter. I like it
Yeah.
to an
It's
extent.
entertaining. It has value.
It just has like you said, yeah, it has problems.
It's got problems.
It's definitely not my favorite. It's
No.
not as creepy as I thought it was going to be. It's not as evil as I thought it was going to be. It's not as bloody as I thought it was going to
No.
be. Everything I was expecting, I didn't get. And I'm not a big gore guy. You know this. I'm not
Yeah.
into gore. I'm
Carpenter
not
usually
into,
doesn't
like,
go too far. The Thing is probably the
exactly.
goriest he's ever done.
I'm not into like super evil stuff. I cannot
Right.
do possessions. I cannot do the devil possessing anybody movies. Can't do it. Just I can't. That's my
Fair enough.
that's my stepping out. That's my I'm tipping out, folks moment. But he in the trailer he promises a lot of that, and then doesn't deliver any of it. The most gruesome thing is the lady waking up.
You can see the budget is most of the budget was spent on what effects they did
Practical
do.
effects were great in this.
Oh, they're really good. She looks
always.
wonderful. I mean, coming off of Big Trouble in Little China, I don't know if they had the same effects artist, but I got a feeling with that too. I just waiting for somebody to blow up great big.
I think he would have done. I think he did himself an injustice by not just going Big Trouble Little China.
God, he should have. It made just
he
like
had
we
all
said.
The actors there. They could have just played the exact same characters.
Yeah.
And I know you say you didn't need Jack Burton, but he would have been. He could have come in halfway through. He could have come in halfway through, just as they're getting ready to seal the thing back up, kicked in a door, shot something, and fudged everything up again.
Yep.
You know, like Jack Burton always does.
I'm here to save you.
Yeah,
you just let it loose.
And he re-releases the demon that they almost had, locked up.
That would be perfect. That would be perfect.
That could have worked.
Yeah.
I think he could do a Jack Burton movie now.
He could. Kurt Russell's fine for that, I'm sure.
Still built like a brick shit house. I mean,
I mean, it'll work. It'll work.
He makes a good Santa Claus, and he makes a good a good snake.
I still recommend Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell.
Bone Tomahawk. I have not watched that yet. I need to.
You will struggle with some of the gore.
Yeah, I probably will.
So it's pretty wicked, but it's a hell of a movie.
Yeah.
But I was really hating on this movie until I started putting the Big Trouble in Little China connection. It's like, for me, this is the unofficial continuation of Big Trouble in Little China. This is Egg Shen and Wang. And one of the girls who, I don't know about the actress who played Lisa, but she looked like she might have been one of the women that we saw in the background, possibly of when they were escaping, when they had all those women in cages.
All the other women.
It's like,
probably because I noticed he
uses a lot of the same people. Yeah.
And that's cool because I never actually realized how many people he reused.
Yeah.
He just liked to work with the same actors, probably because they knew him and knew what he wanted and knew how to take his shorthand in speech.
Mm-hmm.
And if you as a director, I would imagine if you as a director have a shorthand with somebody and you can say half of what needs to be said or less, and they get it. Or you can be in a bad mood and say "F this, F fucking,"
and people don't lose their shit,
and people don't lose, become all dandy and go, "Oh my god, he swore around me. Oh, my feelings are hurt," and walk off. I think that has a lot to help, also. And I don't know anything about his directing style.
I don't either, but apparently people keep working with him. Yeah,
people like him a lot, man. From what I've understood, is he still alive? He's still alive, right?
Yeah. He's actually directing and a couple episodes or a single episode of some new horror anthology that I think is coming on Peacock. So I'd love to see him do one more movie. He is in my bucket list of directors I would love to work under, but it'll probably never happen. But God, it would be wonderful. I just want to meet the man someday. He's inspiration for me as a movie maker and as a musician, because I love his style of soundtracks.
Here's something you were talking about how moody the soundtrack was.
Mm-hmm.
That soundtrack shouldn't have worked. And I know everybody was techno back then. Everybody was just, we got a synthesizer.
That's just John Carpenter. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it was very moody, and synthesizers should not have worked. It
Yeah.
should have been big bass, like boom, 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 like really low bass sounds.
Well,
And
I
he's
will
never
say
done
this.
that, as
I
far
will
as I
say
know.
I will say this. I had to stop the movie about 10 minutes in and move my subwoofer because everything was rattling so much from the
Yeah.
low bass that I had cranking up. So it was shaking my room with some really low bass. So it was pretty good.
That's funny. Yeah, Luna was on the couch and she just perked up. There's like a moment when the music goes woo, 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 woo,
Yeah.
woo, something like that, and the dog's like,
What's that?
and she's watching the movie. She was watching the movie
Oh,
almost all night, like
oh,
almost
damn.
all the way through. She's watching it. Like she'd put her head down, do something, then she'd look back up. When the lady comes up with their faces all
Oh,
messed up,
God.
she sits up and she's like looking straight ahead. Luna's like, "What's going on?" She
Yeah.
just perked up. Her little ears go up, and she's just watching the lady. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shit, is she gonna freak out? Like I was like watching my dog more than I was watching the movie because I thought it was so funny. I wasn't sure how she was gonna react, but it was so damn funny. Daisy could give two craps about movies.
So for some reason we have decided to not spoil this movie, and we're going to keep not spoiling it for the most part. Nothing major.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's odd.
It is odd, and so since we started that, we're not going to spoil it.
Yeah, it's basically just about people trying to prove that the devil exists. So they can tell the world that the devil exists.
It's a neat concept.
Yeah.
The time travel is interesting from 1999. See, at this time in the 80s, everybody thought 1999, we are going to be traveling the stars. We're going to be doing all of this. And know what? We probably already are, and nobody wants to tell us. But that's a whole nother conversation.
That's on our other podcast.
Yeah, that's on the other podcast. But it's a group of people trying to prove or disprove scientifically the existence of ultimate evil, deities, gods, you name it.
Right.
And things go south real quick with it's obvious this thing can possess people and can control through mind control. And it kind of has an Evil Dead vibe to it. With the homeless people.
Yeah. There are parts of it that are kind of humorous. Again, you thought he got really campy. I don't think he got campy enough.
I will agree. It could have gone more, but it just felt like
I think that could have saved this movie.
I think campy was a bad choice for me. It's cheesy.
Yes, it is cheesy. He did go cheesy. Yeah. But I do think that if he would have went campy, if he would have went more
Big Trouble
humor, and even Escape from New York humor, because there's a lot of humor in Escape from New York.
There absolutely
but it's also very kind of moody and dark.
Yeah.
And if he'd have been able to balance that a little bit better in this, but I think you're right. I think it was probably rushed. I think he probably already had the contract to do the movie and was supposed to already be filming, kind of thing. I'm guessing. I don't know. I would like to talk to him about this and say, how do you bring that up though? Because you like a movie, but you know it could have been better. Like, how would you even, like, if he asked you about this movie and said, well, what did you think about this movie? How would you answer that?
I'll tell you how I'd answer. I'm going to say
honestly, or would you be like, "That's the greatest fucking movie I ever saw"?
I'd like to think that I would say this should have been a killer sequel to Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah. Is what I would love to tell him to his face, because I'd love to see his response, to see what he would think of that. Because for me, when it comes to movies, and John Carpenter movies especially, Big Trouble has a special place in my heart, right there with The Thing, They Live. I love his style of film making. In the Mouth of Madness, phenomenal film, just so bizarre, and just, it's John Carpenter all over it, man. Do what?
Was it really?
Yes.
No, I did like Mouth of Madness.
I really dig that movie.
What was the other one that was done by that same writer that you like, The Fish People?
Oh yeah, Dagon. I stand by Dagon.
That's the one that jumped into my head. That's the one.
Yeah, because we were going H.P. Lovecraft, and In the Mouth of Madness is pretty much his take on Lovecraft, and Dagon is one. God, I love that movie. I think it's the Fish Queen or whatever she is, Fish Princess,
sucker fish princess.
It's just a few tentacles, Dave.
Yeah, no, can't do tentacles. Oh,
it's just Awasha or something her name is. Yeah. Oshia or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a good one.
Carpenter's good. He can. I just think he fell short, and I'm just going to assume that it was time and budget.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, he
it
was
feels like
already
it.
under time constraint. He had to get the movie done because he was already paid for it or something. I
Yeah,
do believe it could have been better had he done a rewrite,
absolutely.
couple
I
of
did
rewrites.
need it. It needed to be tightened up because there was a lot of times where we were told and not shown,
Mhm.
and that's just because the script needed to be a little bit tighter.
There was a lot of telling, and I think all of that is what kind of hurts the script. It's not a if you like John Carpenter, you're gonna like this movie. I like
Yeah,
John Carpenter. I like this movie,
I
but
like this
there's
movie. It's not a
it's
good
kind of
one,
bad
but I like
compared
it.
to
It's a
his other
bad
stuff.
movie.
That's what I
It's
gotta say.
I I'm
I hate to
glad
try
it
and sound like a
exists.
shill for John Carpenter. He doesn't need it, but
He
yeah, it's
doesn't need
just
it.
what it is.
I'm with you. I will watch anything he puts out. I do like some of them that people hate. Which I need to revisit Ghost of Mars again because that's one of his more hated movies.
I haven't.
Um,
Let me write that down. I think you and I talked about it before, and I
well,
never got a chance to watch it.
it's got Pam Grier,
I'm
Ice
there.
Cube. Yeah, Pam Grier and Ice Cube. It's a good combo. Um, I like Ice Cube in movies. I've always thought he was fine as an actor. A
Yeah.
lot of people shit on it, but I think he does really good in Ghost of Mars. But
Oh, I'm sorry. Coming from the hood and having to work your way up and claw your way to the top and actually do your own production movie, that guy's got my respect. I'll give you shit.
I don't agree with some of his takes on things, but as a filmmaker, I have nothing but respect for Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Just I really
His
do because
Friday movies are great.
they're great, and to see that he wrote all of that and did that and made that happen, and just the story. Hell, I don't mean to go off on a rant, but just the story
Right.
of NWA, what these guys
Yeah.
did. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about how they got the money. But the fact
Right.
is, they did it. They did it and they made something happen. And Dre is one of the richest motherfuckers in the world now. So he didn't get that way by being stupid.
Yeah.
So
They've done some stupid shit,
of course,
but
yeah,
I think everybody does.
I am wearing Beats headphones. So thank you, Dr. Dre. So
See there?
so it's there's a shill. I'll take my money, please.
There you go. Yeah, that's all I really got to say about the movie.
Yeah.
He does like to use the same cast, a lot of the same actors. At least in the '80s, he seemed like he used a lot of the same actors,
Yeah.
same feel for a lot of his movies. I would like to see him do something else big again. I really would, because he is one of those guys that I find interesting in
Mhm.
storytelling. I find him very interesting as a director, as a writer, like you said, a musician, because he does
He
his own music.
he does all the music, and he's like I said, he's my inspiration. So that's what I listen to when I write, and like the theme song to hear is
Yeah.
inspired. All my stuff is inspired by his. So it's
Nice.
I dig it. But that's I even forgot where I was going to say. But when it comes to John Carpenter, he's got a style, and I
Yeah.
know our audience probably gets sick of me praising this man, but
Nah.
he's got a style that just has a good there's just something about it when you watch his movies. I feel like I'm at a drive-in. I feel like I'm a kid again at a drive-in movie and I'm watching something I shouldn't be. And it's just crazy and it's violent and it's entertaining and it's got cool characters,
Yeah. And I feel like the only thing I can add to that is I feel like everybody in the movies that I've watched him in or watched him direct. Did I say that right? I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I
I feel like they're all having a good time.
yes.
I feel like everybody wants to be there. Good script or bad script, good guys or bad guys. I just feel like everybody wants to be there
Yeah.
and having a good time. So that's good. And it comes off. It comes through the film.
It does. It does. There's an energy to him. There's an energy to his work, and it's great. It's like we say, every director's got a signature. You can watch it and say, I know that's a Tom Cruise film. I know that's Mel Gibson. Because they do certain things. They do, and the more Carpenter I watch, the more I see similar things, similar dialogue, similar scenes, similar interactions. Humor becomes the same, and it's like, okay, this is cool.
He's got a nice rhythm.
It's like Stephen King. Stephen King movies and stories are kind of always run along the same path.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan, same, everybody. The guy makes one movie with a crazy twist, and they expect every single movie to have that twist going forward. And it's like,
and then you're like, but the twist is coming. Here's a twist. I didn't put a twist in my movie.
I know, right? I know. I'm a fan of M. Night. He's made some interesting films choices, but I like it.
I like his stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So there we go, folks. I'd like to thank you for joining us. Dave and I both recommend this movie, even though we like it, but it's not great.
Yeah. We have issues with some of the stuff,
and you will too.
Yeah, and if you like Carpenter, though, you're going to go in and go, this is a good
Carpenter film.
It's entertaining. Yeah. It just could have been better entertainment, if that makes sense. I'm not
It does. Sure. It felt rushed. It felt rushed, and but it's cool. A good premise. It was going somewhere. It'd be good, But so thanks again. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your likes and shares. And make sure you click those buttons too.
And don't forget to join us here.
Yes.
Subscribe.
Yes.
Like. Join. I don't even know where my fingers are going. I might be pointing at buttons. I might just be pointing down or up or to the side.
Yeah. Or into another dimension. But yes. So thanks again, folks. We will catch you next week with another scary or entertaining Halloween-style movie. Who knows what's coming?
Could be Halloween, could be Christmas. We don't know. I don't even know.
And they're both coming up. Catch y'all later.
Bye.